a beautiful day today. Like, I woke up, well, I went to sleep at about, well, first, how are you guys doing? Are you guys doing good? No? Well, if you're doing good, pass that goodness on. If you're feeling a little, I get it. Things are really hard right now. And, like, the, just like going to the store, it was really weird. It was like the human that was doing the self checkout thing was like, yeah, she can be nice and she can be not so nice sometimes. I guess like there's a problem with it, or maybe it doesn't work right. I was like, okay, but what was so weird was like, did she basically just say like that? Like, if you want good service, you have to use the checkout. I digress. So, while trying to navigate, look at that sky. It's so pretty. But while trying to navigate, I was awake for my doctor's appointment on time, or rather early. So I went on ahead and I called them, or they called me, and my doctor, well, he wasn't there, so they had to reschedule my appointment. So this kind of falls back into the whole workman's comp thing. What I'm hoping to do though is to be able to get like my last neurology appointment done, and like once that's done and it's go time, like I'm just going back to work, like not having any restrictions, not having any type of things where I can just go in, do my job, get paid my full amount. Because another thing is, like when they accommodate me, they can't accommodate me on nights, and I work nights for a reason. And one of those reasons also is because, well, one, I'm in school. Two, I have kids, stuff you gotta take care of, so when you're a night shift worker and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we can accommodate you, but you have to work days. And it's, at first you're like, okay, like whatever it is to get back to work. And then you're like, oh shit, like I totally forgot about this, and this, because I've been doing it for 8 years. So anyway, I've been meddling around in Clarksville, courtesy of Mr. Cakes. I'll tag him. And basically just kind of educating myself on everything that has to do with Prop 47. And the interesting thing is that they're using certain zoning laws. So like say you bought like a lot, like a corner lot or something. This is your property, like you own it, and say you have an RV, and it's just like parked, and you're living in your RV. Now you can't do that because they're saying that these RVs, etc., are recreational vehicles, not domiciles. Also, the same thing with, and this was something that I had actually been looking in around 2013, 2014 when we first moved here, because my in-laws, they have a beautiful piece of property, and so we were just thinking like, hey, why don't we just like build a tiny house? And then that's when we started looking at like the specs on what the city considers, like basically like the square footage of everything, and then also, of course, if you're hooked up to like water or electric, but you're still paying for this, it's still on your property. They can, and they are, I'm not going to say they can, they are giving people tickets saying that they can't live there. And that it also comes with a Class E felony. Now, say that you're out camping. There are also certain rules and things that go in with that. The United Nations put a travel alert on Tennessee specifically because of all of these laws. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, this is like to combat the homeless situation. But what about the people who are living on their property that they pay taxes on every year? What about those people? Those people are just like downgrading, or maybe they want that RV life, where they can pack up and go and come back, who knows? It's not your business. As long as they're not harming anybody or anything like that. But, the whole point, I guess, I'm trying to make is that I saw somebody who was camping and they posted a picture, and honestly, you guys, like, in the comments, of course, I got, drugged through the comments, and they were like, I think, like, the picnic table, the gravel, and the backpacks and all that, like, clearly say that this is a camping ground. And I'm looking at it thinking, like, no, that looks like where I break at work, if I'm being honest. But I didn't say anything because I was just like, hey, like, I don't know what your situation is, like, AKA, I don't know if you're at a specific campground or if you're at a KOA or whatever, but just to be aware, Proposition 47. Now, it wasn't lost on me that the photo for this person was the, like, and again, I don't have to, like, we don't have to talk about politics to be friends. We don't have to bring any of that in. This is something that, like, local law, they pass this, not politics, like, not any of those people. It was a local thing that turned into a state adopted bill, and there are other states that are doing these. So when you hear of, like, these massive, like, homeless camp sweeps, it's not just homeless people. It's basically anywhere that is public property, you can't be there. Private property is little if, okay? Because it's a pick and choose situation on how they want to do it. So I just told this lady, like, hey, like, I know you're from Tennessee and everything, just be careful on where you're camping because of Proposition 47 and, like, just some of the things about that. And she just comes swinging at me, like, with the most ignorant of things. Like, the first one is like, I'm at the campground, and I said, well, I explained I didn't know your situation. And then somebody else was like, I think, like, the da-da-da-da-da, like, the scenery depicts this as a campground. And I'm like, yeah, this is why we don't make assumptions, because it makes both of us look like an ass. And somebody gave her, like, a laughing emoji, like, good for you, clap, yay, snaps for your clever wit. And, I was passing a picnic table while I was looking at this, because we were pulling back into the apartment complex, And yeah, I have an apartment. Like, my life isn't guaranteed. I could be living in my car in a month, or in 2 weeks. I have no idea. That's why I don't, like, sit there and, like, hate on the homeless, because a lot of people, y'all, are falling through the cracks. A lot of people are living in their cars, and for me, like, that's something that's not a big deal for me, mainly because the cars that I get, I always buy them with the idea of like SUVs. Like, how can I turn this into like something on wheels if I needed to? And sometimes I go to work and I'm just tired, okay? So if I can like get in my truck or get into my car, turn on all my things, plug in all my USBs and my power banks, and sleep before I decide to like get on the road or something like that. Or I may just sleep in the parking lot and then wake up and take a shower and, go back to work. It is what it is. The only person that I guess caught on was someone else who commented under that, and they were like, "Oh, are you talking about the homeless?" And I was just like, "No, because it's not just the homeless. These people have homes. It's just that the code enforcement, they're picking and choosing, and they're being really selective." Now, when they sweep these encampments, a lot of these people are like almost at the point to where they have their housing voucher. So what happened in it was I think it was Knox County. There was a huge sweep. Two elderly women over the age of 70 had their vouchers, but because Section 8 housing is closed, even though they had their vouchers and they went to the apartment and everything, they still got arrested. Okay, now where were all of these ladies? What were their items? Their items were in a campsite, because that's the only place. 70 years old, elderly, and in between two situations. As far as I know, we still don't know if these two elderly women over 70 got out of jail. And now, mind you, when they arrest you, they don't let you make arrangements for somebody to look over your stuff or like make a phone call. No, they destroy it right there. They walk into these camps. If you have like, a jug of water, like say you're just outside, like I have a beautiful area over, but unfortunately it's just really trashed out, and it's really not even about the homeless. I mean, there are some people who are homeless back there, but it's really not that. It's more of just like it's a shortcut a lot of people use, so they just kind of trash it. But it's a beautiful place, and a lot of times there's like a couple of slabs of like man-made slabs, or not man-made slabs, but you know what I'm trying to say, like rock formations. And sometimes I like to like grab a blanket, and and there's a canopy of trees, and I like to just chill there. And I also know that there are homeless people like around the corners. I announce myself. Of course, like, I don't go anywhere without carrying some form of protection. Um, but I announce myself, and I also offer to help. Like, it's not a big deal for me to wash somebody's clothes, or after a storm to, offer to dry their, stuff. Even as far as like keeping people's bags. I mean, we make sure, obviously, that they don't have any, like drug stuff, but, every person that I've met, that's not the problem. These are, like, people who you can tell, like, a month or two ago, everything was fine, and something happened, and that's all it took was, sorry, and you end up in the woods. Now, there's a difference between being someone who is career homeless, they don't want to better themselves, they have no, like true will to do so, and even with all the resources and everything, it's just, I mean, it's easier to some. I mean, I personally couldn't see myself like standing at a corner, like asking for change or something. Like that's too far gone for me. Um, but I also am not going to harp or talk badly about the people who end up in those situations because I trust you, they didn't plan it. So that's what I'm saying. You have homeless people who, like, on like the 5th and like the 10th of the month, when like you have your big, like, yard sale, like everything on the side of the road, odds are that's probably somebody's life that they didn't have time to pick up. They tried to figure it out, and they had to get and they had to go. That was it. So I'm, explaining, or, I make my comment and I'm just like about, this, and, it was like, oh, you mean they're like focusing on the homeless? And I was just like, no. I mean, that's what the bill says, but we have these things, what are they called? Are they called earmarks? What are those? You know what I'm talking about. But basically, it's like you have a bill, like a proposition, blah, 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 blah. Like whenever they had when they passed the Amber Alert bill in Texas, I remember that it was earmarked. That's what it's called. So it's had like one bill will have like 15 other different bills inside of it. So, like, this is how we actually found out about the Anti-Rave Coalition Act back in 1998, which was, I guess, like the fight of like designer party substances. And basically, that any club owner, if any drugs were found in the place, the club owner would be fined like $200,000, and so basically everybody just quit throwing like those really awesome raves. Now us 409 rejects, we didn't take too kindly to you taking away our, like, happy dance music. And when you're kind of like living in that vibe, like, you don't need all of the, crunchy bullshit that comes with it. But that's just what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that like the Amber bill like should not have been, like, I hate the way that bill had to be created, obvi, but it got created for a reason. Wow. Jason, you weren't lying. My makeup does look good today. I just ruined it with that face. But to summarize, if I try to educate you, or just say, if not even educate you, if I see you and I know that there's like a law about something, I want you to know that there's a law about that, because I don't want you to get in trouble. And also, if you don't know about this law, then odds are a lot of people don't know it, or they're choosing not to know it. You understand? Now, these laws had to be backed by certain people with an agenda. And I guess the agenda was to crack down on the homeless population by enacting a felony, a Class C felony, E, and a $3,000 fine. Now, isn't that a catch? Because if you had $3,000, wouldn't you be able to pay your rent? Like, wouldn't you? If you had $3,000, you wouldn't be living in a tent, is what I'm saying. I mean, and I'm not shaming anybody who lives in a tent, but not everybody chooses nomadic life. Not everybody chooses nomad life. And I have been somebody who has lost everything, rebuilt, lost everything, rebuilt, lost everything, and rebuilt. So, yes, I am extremely humble whenever it comes to the things that I have, the privilege that I have to. And privilege isn't always a good thing. Let me put that out there also. And I'm not really talking about i.e. IT privilege necessarily. I'm just talking about the privilege of now having a roof over your head. That's privilege. What should be your things that you don't have to worry about, these are things that make you shine, make you get to hair flip on somebody. Karen, who isn't at a very obvious campsite, and I'm just trying to spread some awareness, but clearly you're probably in a CLUTEY situation. Now, I'm not going to argue because you can't. You just can't. You present the facts and they don't want to listen to them, or that doesn't apply to me. Whatever. I hope it doesn't. I mean, and God bless you if it does. If you're not affected by any of these things, and you can go do what you want when you want, but if you think that if that's not a right to be able to say you're at your home and your kids want to have in their backyard that you pay for, they want to have a camp out party, okay? We used to do this all the time. We had a trampoline, so we would make a thing on the trampoline. Okay. But we would put a tent on top of the trampoline, and we had it my dad would rig it down to the corners of the trampoline, and then underneath it we would hang up Christmas lights, and it was just a little kid thing. You can't do that anymore. I mean, you can, but don't get caught by the police doing it in your own yard. Because, oh no, and then you know what else? Oh, maybe we should bring DHS and CPS in here. Maybe we should just exhaust all of these resources that we don't really need to do just to make somebody's day and life a little bit shittier. Is that what y'all want? This is a serious question. Is this what y'all want? Because I'm going to close on that. There's avocado. It looks amazing. Is this what y'all want? True or false? Or yes? And if so, why? Or why not? Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Get back to me. Alright then, bye.